Okay, welcome to the class EPPE3123 Industry and International Business. I'm going to share this to the screen. In this introduction, we have notes here that deals with the terminology and the concepts of complex system. And from here, we have the foundation of how the origins and the basic for complex system studies come from. And then we want to start tonight by looking at the one piece of video that will give you the basic understanding. First of all, please subscribe to my YouTube. I describe myself as futurist on technology. Future, I look to the future and to predict the future in terms of technology. So you have to go to my playlist. So in the playlist, there is a disruptive technology, our last chapter, and this is complex system under the playlist of complex system. Okay. Oh, not that one. So first, we go to the concept. Not this one. What is a complex system? I will stop in between to explain.
In this module, we will be trying to define what exactly a complex system is. Before we start, we should note that there is no formal definition for what a complex system is, and thus there remains many different perspectives and opinions on the subject. What we present here is just a working definition. Firstly, a complex system is a special class of system. A system is simply a set of parts called elements, and a set of connections between these parts called relations. These parts can be ordered or unordered. An unordered system is simply a set of things. Because there is no specific structure or order, we can describe a set simply by listing all of its elements and their properties. So a pile of stones on the ground is an example of an unordered set. As there is no pattern or order to the system, we can only describe it by describing the properties of each relations. These parts can be ordered. Before we start, we should note that there is no formal definition for what a complex system is, and thus there remains many different perspectives and opinions on the subject. What we present here is just a working definition. Firstly, a complex system is a special class of system. A system is simply a set of parts called elements, and a set of connections between these parts called relations.
Okay. System consists of elements or parts. or components or nodes, NODS, with links. So consider this is nodes, 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 nodes with the links, or you call it relations. So consists of elements or the same thing, parts or components or nodes. However, we simply call it elements and the links with them between them. This is the link connecting the elements. So links or relationship.
These parts can be ordered or unordered. An unordered system is simply a set of things.
This is unordered. Unordered means random.
Because there is no specific structure or order, we can describe a set simply by listing all of its elements and their properties. So a pile of stones on the ground is an example of an unordered set. As there is no pattern or order to the system, we can only describe it by describing the properties of each element in isolation and then adding them all up, with the whole set being nothing more than the sum of its individual parts.
Yes. So this is a simple, linear, non-system definition, because system will be here 1 plus 1 plus 1 or 6. Total will not be 6, more than 6. That's the meaning of system. We're going to study system is the whole, HOLE, the whole is greater than the sum of its part. If one unit each, for this one, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 6, no. A system will be more than 6, greater than 6. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is not 3, more than 3. Can be anything more than 3, 7, 21. And that's system.
All up, with the whole set being nothing more than the sum of its individual parts.
Individual part, not interacting.
If in contrast,
not interacting with each other, sum of individual parts, which is 6, if they're not interacting. So, but system, by definition, the elements are interacting among each other.
Through the relations, these parts are ordered in a specific way, then they can function together as an entirety, and out of these parts working together, we get the emergence of a global pattern of organization that is capable of functioning as a coherent whole.
Yes. If they are connected and interacting among each other, then they emerge a new character, or new characteristics, or new character, a new order, a new whole, H-O-L-E, not H-O-L-E, sorry, new whole, W-H-O-L-E, whole. And because of their interaction, emerge a new character. And that process, that outcome, we call it emergence.
For example, if all the parts in our car are arranged in a specific way, then we will have the global functionality of a vehicle of transportation, or out of the specific arrangement of billions of cells and the different specialized organs that make up our body, we get the emergence of a global system that enables us to operate as an entire organism. So that is the basic model of a system. It consists of elements and relations. When those elements work together, we get the emergence of a new level of organization.
So we want to apply this to the supply side of technology, how technology develops. Surely technology develops not because of people working in isolation, not because of firms working in isolations. Engineers, scientists, all are interacting among each other, and also interacting with the incentives given by the government, by the firms, and firms also interacting among each other. So the whole ecosystem of interactions within that ecosystem uh, that will generate new level of uh, emerged character, and that character will be more inventiveness, which is the ability to create inventions, technological inventions, or technological uh, development.
Now, let's start adding complexity to this. Probably the only property that will be in all definitions of a complex system is that they consist of many parts. Many parts that are distributed out without centralized control. Organization is formed out of the local interactions between the parts through a process of self-organization that gives rise to the emergence of new levels of organization. With the
Self-organization, self-organizing. And we're going to study also tonight, inshallah, an economist present a paper on how the economy self-organizes in a city. So this is locational economics, or what we call economic geography, or uh, uh, economics of regions, or economics of location. So this application of complex system applies to many type of fields. So it is multidisciplinary and also interdisciplinary, and application is for anything, almost anything, complex system. And you're going to study, it comes from biology with physics, thermodynamics, and develop into neural networks and cybernetics, uh, develop into cybernetics, and with applications many other parts, including AI, neural networks, and so on.
The phenomenon of emergence that we were previously discussing, a whole new level to the system has developed, which then starts to interact with other systems in its environment. The result being that new patterns of organization develop, and once again we get the emergence of another level of organization, and so on. People form part of social groups that form part of broader society, which in turn forms part of humanity.
Yeah. Imagine
the point to take away here is that these systems have a hierarchical structure. This is a pervasive phenomenon in our world. Elements are nested inside of patterns of organization develop, and once again we get the emergence of another level of organization, and so on. People form part of social groups that form part of broader society.
Imagine these are scientists. Yeah. So how their interactions will create new scientific knowledge and creation of technology.
Society, which in turn forms part of humanity. The point to take away here is that these systems have a hierarchical structure. This is a pervasive phenomenon in our world. Elements are nested inside of subsystems, which in turn form part of larger systems, and so on. All complex systems have this multidimensional property to them. They are composed of many elements on many different scales, with all of these levels affecting each other. A business is part of a local economy, which is part of a national economy, which in turn is part of a global economy. Each is interconnected and interdependent with the others. We cannot fully isolate one component or reduce the whole thing to one level. This is a primary source of complexity. So this is our first property to a complex system. Many different parts that are distributed out with local interactions and self-organization giving rise to new emergent levels on different scales. Next, interdependence and nonlinearity. The parts to a complex system are highly interdependent, and this interdependence creates nonlinearity. Almost all pervasive phenomenon in our world. Elements are nested in as a pervasive phenomenon. People form part of social groups that form part of broader society, which in turn forms part of humanity. The point to take away here is that these systems have a hierarchical structure. This is a pervasive phenomenon in our world. Elements are nested inside.
Nested. Unnested. Inside.
Of subsystems, which in turn form part of larger systems, and so on. All complex systems have this multidimensional property to them. They are composed of many elements on many different scales, with all of these levels affecting each other. A business is part of a local economy, which is part of a national economy, which in turn is part of a global economy. Each is interconnected and interdependent with the others. We cannot fully isolate one component or reduce the whole thing to one level, and this is a primary source of complexity. So this is our first property to a complex system. Many different parts that are distributed out, with local interactions and self-organization giving rise to new emergent levels on different scales. Next, interdependence and nonlinearity. The parts to a complex system are highly interdependent, and this interdependence creates nonlinearity. Almost all well-formulated definitions for complex systems involve the term nonlinearity. It is a continuously recurring.
Look at nonlinear. 1 plus 1 is not 2. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is not 3. More than 3. 1 plus 1 plus 1 more than 2. Because of the complex system and the interactions among the elements, that interactions with self-organization will create a new character. That new character, what we call process of emergence, emerge a new character, which is 1 plus 1 plus 1 can be 5, can be whatever number, bigger than 2, not 2. Emergence of new character because of interactions among the elements. So a soccer team stronger because they are playing interactively, interacting among each other. You study in a group, you make better grade because you are interacting. Then studying alone, studying a group, better grades than studying alone. But even you sit on the table, for people on the table, you're not interacting, just sitting by your own self, no interactions. It's the same. 4 people will be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 4. But if you are that study table, you are interacting, exchanging notes among each other, asking questions. This person will solve the problem, So there's interaction. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 more than 4, maybe 20, and that's how all of you in that table studying a group will make A's.
And pervasive theme. Nonlinearity arises from the fact that when we put 2 or more things together, the result may not necessarily be a simple addition of each element's properties in isolation. In contrary, we may get a combined effect that is greater or less than the simple sum of each part because of their interdependent nature. Examples of this might be 2 sound waves that are perfectly out of sync, canceling each other out through noise interference, or the division of labor, as can be seen in many human and insect communities, result.
Yeah, this now 1 plus 1 can be 0. That's the negative cancelling. This 1 plus 1 can be 3, not 2.
Resulting in synergies, which means the output will be far greater than what individuals could accomplish in isolation.
Okay, a good example is this. That's why this sport of rowing. You see this one person here is the conductor to make sure everyone, this conductor, everyone is paddling at the same time. If just anyone of the, in the team here, not pushing, not paddling at the same time or in different way.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yes.
Excuse me. Sir, are you presenting something because we cannot see your screen?
Oh yeah, I'm presenting. Why don't you tell me? Waste of time. Yes, I'm presenting. You should stop me from beginning.
You should stop me from beginning. You was here before, but then I thought you wanted to just give the lecture.
Every time when I'm presenting, something wrong, please let me know. We can go on and on. So please let me know that I'm not sharing the screen. I've been doing this all for how many minutes already? Since when? Since beginning? I want to know. Tell me, please. Since when?
Since when? It was right after the video. Just right after the video.
Which video?
Not the song one, the one that after you started the lecture, and then you should, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And can you see this?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Anytime that you see something strange, let me know, because I cannot know what you're seeing. That's the thing about this team. I don't know what what is being on the screen. So look at this. There's one conductor in front. This is an example of emergence. Emergence is part of one of the most important parts of complex system. Emergence. What is emerge here? Strong, fast. Strong and fast is the emergence. What we call emergent property. Emergent property is not a property. Don't take this thing. That's mine. That not that meaning of property. Property means characteristics. Character property. So the character that emerge from here is fast, going very fast. That character, strong and going can go fast. That character emerge because of they doing it together at the same time, in the same direction at the same time. So emerge that character of strong and fast. And strong and fast is what we call emergent property. The emergent property comes from interactions among the elements. Elements here, 1, 2, 3, 4. How many people? 6, 7, 8 people here. So suppose if only one person here not doing at the same time, this team will not win, because there's something wrong in the interaction among the elements. So a good example is rowing boat for sport. So let's go back to the video. Now, can you see the video?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. So I'm gonna continue with the video.
Due to what are called feedback loops, nonlinear systems may grow or decay at an exponential rate. These periods of rapid change are defined as phase transitions. Thus, complex systems are known to be able to shift or flip into whole new regimes within very brief periods of time. Some small change in input value to the system can, through feedback loops, trigger a large systemic effect. This is
another characteristic as a complex system. A small change will and can lead to big change. That's what we call butterfly effect. This is for environment butterfly.
It's called sensitivity to initial conditions, and it is the central idea within chaos theory.
Chaos theory.
Examples of this butterfly effect can be seen in financial crises and the collapse of ecosystems such as coral reefs. Next, connectivity. Many definitions for complex systems involve dense or high levels of interconnectivity between components. As we turn up the degree of connectivity, it becomes the nature and structure of these connections that define the system as opposed to the properties of its components. How are things connected, and what is connected to what, become the main questions. At some critical level of connectivity, the system stops being a set of parts and becomes a network of connections, and it is now all about how things flow in this network. Networks are the true geometry of complex systems, and this connectivity reshapes our traditional three-dimensional Euclidean conception of space. In complex systems like the global air transportation system, or the financial system, or the internet, space is redefined in terms of topology created by connectivity. What matters is your position in the network structure and your degree of connectivity. Connectivity again leads us into the world of complexity, as the number of relations between elements can grow in an exponential fashion. If we take just a handful of elements, they can become connected in possibly thousands or even millions of different ways. Lastly, autonomy and adaptation. Whether we are talking about a flock of birds, the internet, or our global economy, there is no top-down centralized mechanism for coordinating the whole system. Within complex systems, elements have a degree of autonomy, often through their capacity to adapt to their local environment according to their own set of instructions. Without centralized coordination and with a degree of autonomy, elements can synchronize their states locally or cooperate, resulting in the emergence of patterns of organization from the bottom up. With autonomy and adaptation also comes the capacity for a variety of different responses for any given phenomenon, meaning complex systems are often heterogeneous with high levels of diversity. Ecosystems and multicultural societies are good examples of this. Without centralized coordination, complex systems develop on the macro scale through a process of evolution. Elements within complex adaptive systems are subject to the evolutionary force of selection, where those that are best suited to that environment are selected and replicated, while others are not. Products are subjected to selection within a market environment. In democracies, politicians are subject to selection by voters, and creatures in ecosystems are subjected to natural selection through competition. In such a way, the whole macro-scale system manages to adapt to its environment without centralized coordination and develop to exhibit higher levels of both differentiation and integration. The greater
Nobody is telling you what to do, but you self-organize. For example, on a highway, cars will adjust their speed, will self-organize. Suppose on the highway you're traveling, you get into the area of, say, Nilai or Seremban, which lots of factories, industrial area, and big city. So self-organizing, all the cars will self-organize their speed. Even though there's a 110 speed limit, they will organize to the situation. What speed is best at that location during that time. All the cars will be self-organizing. The car in front and in the back don't know each other. Of course, they don't call, you guys in front, please slow down. No, nobody is telling you, the other guy to slow down, because they're not communicating with each other. No calling, no like message at the back of the car, please slow down. No, all the cars, all the vehicles will self-organize in terms of the speed. And then once they pass the area of this industrial area, left and right are factories, go toward more relaxed farm on left and right, like grazing, cows grazing, farms. So you will not feel that if you're running 130 or 120, 130 kilometers per hour, you don't feel like you're too fast, because at that location, stretch of highway, cars will self-organize themselves to speed up. Anyone is slow will become, will disrupt. Will not be making the travel smooth for other people. So speed of the car or the vehicles self-organize accordingly, according to the location and the time and so on. So that's what we call without centralized coordination. There's no one doing the coordination, but cars will be self-organizing in terms of their speed. That's one example.
The greater the autonomy and capacity for adaptation that elements have, the more complex the system we are dealing with. In summary, we have been trying to lay down a basic working definition for a complex system while remembering that there is no formal consensus on the subject. We firstly talked about how a complex system is a special class of system. We defined a system as a set of elements and the relations between them. We saw how when these parts are arranged in a specific order for them to function as an entirety, we get what is called the process of emergence, whereby a new level of organization emerges. We then began to add complexity to our model of a system by defining it as a product of four primary parameters. Firstly, talking about the number of elements and different levels to the hierarchy within our system. We then discussed nonlinearity as another dimension to complexity, where non-additive interactions and feedback loops over time can give us exponential relations between the input and output to a system and lead to phase transitions. We also talked about connectivity as another driver of complexity, as heightened connectivity within complex systems means they often appear to us as networks. Lastly, we discussed how autonomy and adaptation enable self-organization and the process of evolution that shapes complex systems on the macro scale.
Just now, this is the basic.
We saw how when these parts are arranged in a specific order for them to function as an entirety, we get what is called the process of emergence, whereby a new level of organization emerges. We then began to add complexity to our model of a system by defining it as a product of four primary. We saw how when these parts are arranged in a specific order for them to function as an entirety, we get what is called the process of emergence, whereby a new level of organization emerges.
Okay. This, what we call system. At this point, this explains system. With the number one concept is this, what? Elements and interactions. Elements and interactions. Okay, must remember elements and interactions. With that interactions comes the self-organizing, because the elements are interacting among each other. This will self-organize as a whole, a new whole. WHOLE. I'm just using this pad to type. Tell me that you can see this. I go to this because I switch. Now I go to the translation. I don't mean to translate, but I just want to make sure that you catch what I say.
Sorry, sir, we cannot see your screen.
Oh, cannot see if I do that. Oh, really? I'm finding out something. That's how it is. If I shift. Yeah. This elements are nested. That was the past. I went to this. I changed my. Now you can see, right? Tell
Yes,
me,
sir. Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah. A new whole. That's how I have to spell. Whole, not lubang, but whole keseluruhan. Hmm? Project whole. So I go back to the video. If I switch to the video, tell me that you can see or not. I mean, I don't know. Teams switching. Is it gonna appear with it? Not yet. Okay, tell me that you can see the screen of the video, YouTube video. Oh, really? So up to this point in the video, the summary, okay, we're dealing with, or we define system, okay, to define what a system is. This is already a summary, right? Up to this point in the summary, define the meaning of system. A system I have live on my YouTube. That's why it's heavy for my computer. This is live on my YouTube.
System is a special class of system.
Okay.
We defined a system as a set of elements and the relations between them.
Okay. Up to this point, only defining system, not yet complex system. I want to say that. Not yet complex system. Just to define what a system is. A system consists of elements and links or relationships or interactions. When I say links, relations, or interactions, they are the same thing. When I say elements, or when I say components, when I say nodes, they are the same thing. With links, relations, and interactions, they are all the same thing, only using different words. Okay, system consists of elements and interactions that will generate a new whole, W-H-O-L-E, a new whole through the process of emergence.
We saw how, when these parts are arranged in a specific order for them to function as an entirety, we get what is called the process of emergence.
See, to function as an entirety, entire. Okay. Oh, no, that one. Okay. Tell me, you can see the translation, that page. I switched to this page. Can you see or not?
Cannot, Doctor.
Cannot. Oh, I learned. Must share if I switch. But if switch back to the video, no need to share again. Yeah. Now you can see the translation.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll do the Malay entirety, whole, entire. They are the same. Yeah, same. Entirety. Okay. As a whole, as a new entirety. So let's go to Malay. Chonche. Same. Yes. Whole. A new behavior. A new whole. Okay. Now let's go back to the video. Tell me that you can see the video. Wait. Slowly. Okay. Can you see the video? Images?
Can.
All right. Okay.
Whereby a new level of organization emerges. We then began to add complexity to our model of a system by defining called the process of emergence, whereby a new level of organization emerges. We then began to add complexity to our model of a system by defining it as a product of four relations between them. We saw how when these parts are arranged in a specific order for them to function as an entirety, we get what is called the process of emergence, whereby a new level of organization emerges. We then began to add complexity.
Function as an entirety. This is just heard just now. That was the definition of system. Now, beginning with number 1, 2, 3, 4, complex system. Just now finish. What is the definition of system only? System only. Now, complex system. Okay. Number 1.
Complexity to our model of a system by defining it as a product of four primary parameters. Firstly, talking about the number of elements and different levels to the hierarchy within our system.
Many elements and many hierarchy.
We then discussed nonlinearity as another dimension to complexity, where non-additive interactions and feedback loops over time.
Feedback loops. My internet is so bad.
Feedback loops over time can give us exponential relations between the input and output to a system and lead to phase transitions. The
non-linearity is 1 plus 1 plus 1 is not 3. And that creates non-linear. So, non-linearity is got this S curve.
Also talked about connectivity as another driver of complexity, as heightened connectivity within complex systems means they often appear to us as networks. Lastly, we discussed how autonomy and adaptation enable self-organization and the process of evolution that shapes complex systems on the macro scale.
Okay, next. Is this the same one?
We will be giving an overview to the area of complexity theory by looking at the major theoretical frameworks that are considered to form part of it and contribute to the study of complex systems. Complexity theory is a set of theoretical frameworks used for modeling and analyzing complex systems within a variety of domains. Complexity has proven to be a fundamental feature of our universe that is not amenable to our traditional methods of modern science. And thus, as researchers have encountered it within many different areas from computer science to ecology to engineering, they have had to develop new sets of models and methods for approaching it. Out of these different frameworks has emerged a core set of commonalities that over the past few decades has come to be recognized as a generic framework for studying complex systems in the abstract. Complexity theory encompasses a very broad and very diverse set of models and methods. As yet, there is no proper formulation to structure and give definition to this framework. Thus, we will present it as a composite of our four main areas that encompass the different major perspectives on complex systems and how to best interpret them, including self-organization theory, nonlinear systems, network theory, and adaptive systems theory. Firstly, self-organization and emergence. Complex systems are composed of many small parts without centralized control, examples being flocks of birds, financial markets, social networks, global logistics networks, or the human brain.
And also technology.
Without centralized control, global organization is an emergent feature of the local interactions between the parts. Whereas the term emergence is a general concept referring to how new levels of organization are formed as we put component parts together, the theory of self-organization presents a number of
just now local interactions among scientists and engineers that will create a new emerged situation, emerged character, that character being innovative. That process we call emergence. So Silicon Valley and so on, all these center, Silicon Valley for example, so on meaning I want to say other places too, like Tsukuba City in Japan, Daejeon in Korea, Cyberjaya in Malaysia, question mark. The scientists, engineers, firms are all there in one location, Silicon Valley. They interacting among each other within and also with outside of the world, of their world, to the world. And that process of being innovative, that is the process of emergence. What emerges a new character for the region and the people inside there, which is they become innovative people because they interact among each other. Just like what I said, if you study by yourself, you're not going to make grade A. But if you study in a group, the chances that you're going to make a good grades. Because you are interacting among your classmates and emerge a new property that you all become smart.
Concrete models for understanding how this process takes place. The model of self-organization draws upon information theory to understand organization in terms of information and entropy. It draws upon ideas in physics surrounding synchronization and pattern formation, and ideas in chemistry surrounding dissipative systems and far from equilibrium processes. Here we are looking at how elements governed by simple rules synchronize their behavior with
study of complex system is study of far from equilibrium. Science, on the other
result
hand,
being a definition to this framework. Thus, we will present it as a composite of our four main areas that encompass the different major perspectives on complex systems and how to best interpret them, including self-organization theory, nonlinear systems, network theory, and adaptive systems theory. Firstly, self-organization and emergence. Complex systems are composed of many small parts without centralized control, examples being flocks of birds, financial markets, social networks, global logistics networks, or the human brain. Without centralized control, global organization is an emergent feature of the local interactions between the parts. Whereas the term emergence is a general concept referring to how new levels of organization are formed as we put component parts together, The theory of self-organization presents a number of concrete models for understanding how this process takes place. The model of self-organization draws upon information theory to understand organization in terms of information and entropy. It draws upon ideas in physics surrounding synchronization and pattern formation, and ideas in chemistry surrounding dissipative systems and far from equilibrium processes. Here we are looking at how elements governed by simple rules synchronize their behavior, with the result being a process of self-organization as patterns of organization emerge from the bottom up. Researchers try to model complex systems by capturing these local rules and using computational tools like agent-based modeling to try and simulate the process through which order emerges out of initially homogeneous or disordered states. Next, nonlinear systems and chaos theory. Nonlinearity is an inherent feature and major theme that crosses all areas of complex systems. A lot of nonlinear systems theory has its origins in quite dense and obscure mathematics and physics. Out of the study of certain types of equations, weather patterns, fluid dynamics, and particular chemical reactions has emerged some very counterintuitive phenomena in the form of the butterfly effect and chaos. Chaos theory, which is the study of nonlinear dynamical systems, was one of the first major challenges to the Newtonian paradigm that was accepted into the mainstream body of scientific knowledge.
Doctor, now we can't hear the audio of the video.
Oh, very, very, okay, let me see. Just now only, not the beginning. How?
Yeah, just now.
Okay.
Just now.
Okay. Okay, before we move, this picture of Newton just now picture of Newton under the apple tree. So complex system is actually a challenge to Newtonian paradigm, opposite of challenging to the Newtonian paradigm. What is Newtonian? Newton, scientist, physics, science, including physics, reduces the complex things, reduces the complexities into a single formula. So the approach of science is what we call reductionism. Reductionism. From all many things complex become reduced into not just a single formula, reduced into formulas or single formula. For example, the universe was reduced into a single formula by Einstein as E equal mc to the power of 2, EMC2. So science reduces. The approach of science is reductionism. On the other hand, complex systems and science reductionism and goes into the equilibrium. Whereas complex system, on the other hand, studies the complexity, will be an inductive rather than deductive. Inductive, the opposite. Inductive, and the study is far from equilibrium. not at the equilibrium, far from equilibrium. So the opposite of Newton. So this is very interesting for the first time in your life, and I'm proud that I can share this field to anyone at the economics faculty that take this class. No other class like this. This I'm proud that I'm opening, introducing to you a field that can be used for anything today and for your future. So you can become economist, you can become banker, whatever. You can solve problem, you can look at situation, and basically you can simulate and also solve problem using this complex system. What uh, we say in the next chapter, which is system thinking. So we think it as a system and we simulate, and we want to understand anything from complex system approach that will equip you with something that is useful uh, for you in the future. And I hope you like this. Actually, this course, this topic requires the whole course, what we call economic system design. That's what I took during my study. The name of the course is economic system design. So we have a simulation using computer. I'll show you my paper. Uh, but I crashed this one course of economic system design into just one chapter. Okay, one chapter. The purpose is to introduce to you this field that you never thought of. Economics department, you can see this course, you can see this topic in an economic department, and you'll be surprised. A Nobel Prize winner in economics coming up tonight. I'll show you his paper, a chapter in the book, a Nobel Prize winner in economics, writing about this topic. And he's no ordinary economist. We are similar. We have the same interest. Me and him, same kind of field. Also teach international trade. People in trade and industry will go into this. People who study inflation, all those unemployment, whatever, I mean inflation, mainstream economics, will not go into this. Okay, let's move on.
Chaos theory, which is the study of nonlinear dynamical systems, was one of the first major challenges to the Newtonian paradigm that was accepted into the mainstream body of scientific knowledge. Our modern scientific framework
challenging the Newtonian paradigm, which has been accepted by many people. But Newtonian paradigm reduces things, complex things, into a single thing, single formula. So, but what's wrong with that? We're not going to be able to unravel the interactions which comes into the complex system and to pinpoint where is the problem, or where the problem
is based upon linear systems theory.
Yes. Science is based on linear system theory, but complex system is not linear system. It is non-linear system.
Places significant constraints upon it. Linear systems theory is dependent upon the concept of a system having an equilibrium. Although linear systems theory often works as an approximation, the fact is...
Okay, Feedback, can you hear the video?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
That many of the phenomena we are interested in describing are nonlinear. Processes of change, such as regime shifts within ecosystems and society, happen far from equilibrium. They are governed by the dynamics of feedback loops and not linear equations.
Yes. Stock market, technology development, economic growth, they are not linear. Learning, you're studying how you're from not knowing anything to knowing. It is not a linear thing. Can be going down, can be going up, can be exponentially. But roughly, we can say that if you learn, there's going to be going up. But going up because of the interactions. You study together, that process of learning increase by marginal increase. I mean, the marginal rate is increasing. It means that exponential. The graph is not straight line. It's going up, and up. Non-equilibrium. And non-linear.
Trying to model complex systems by using traditional linear systems theory is like trying to put a screw into a piece of wood with a hammer. We are simply using the wrong tool because it is the only one we have. Thus, the areas of nonlinear systems and their dynamics is another major part of the framework of complexity theory that has come largely from physics, mathematics, and the study of far from equilibrium processes in chemistry. Next, network theory. Network theory is another major area to complexity theory, as almost all complex systems can be understood and modeled effectively as networks. Network theory is a formal mathematical language, but it has proven a very practical tool for analysis and thus has found widespread application in many areas. The study of networks is probably the youngest and most active area of complexity science, again driven by the rise of computational